Welcome to the deep dive.
Good to be talking about this one.
Yeah, so today we're digging into a short film transcript you shared with us. It's called Situationship.
Right. And it really throws you right into this very specific, very loaded moment between two people.
Joe and Grace. You can tell immediately they have history.
Oh, definitely. The whole setup, he's invited her over to his apartment,
And on the surface, it seems friendly enough. He's talking about making spaghetti.
which she kind of teases him about, saying maybe it's not as good as hers.
Yeah, that little playful jab. And then there's this really interesting detail, the Mr. Pickle
Ah, Mr. Pickle, the ring toss prize.
that she kept. And she says it reminds her of him. It's sort of quirky, but also quite telling, maybe.
I think it's more than just quirky. It feels like a symbol, doesn't it? A little piece of their shared past, maybe a simpler time.
A tangible reminder, yeah, before things got whatever they are now.
Exactly, because beneath that slightly awkward, slightly jokey surface, you feel something else.
There's tension. You can sense it. It feels like they're falling into an old script.
Which is really what we want to unpack here, right?
Yeah.
That's our mission for this deep dive. What are those unspoken things? The old hurts.
What's really going on in this conversation?
Okay, so let's start with that shared history. Grace actually mentions being at his place before.
This place, she calls it, says he always loved it.
Yeah, so there's familiarity. And the reason she's there now is supposedly because he wants to show her his new book.
Right. He says she was a huge influence, which is quite a statement.
And that she's the first person to read it outside of the publisher. That feels significant.
And she gives him genuine praise, doesn't she? Says it's really good.
Yeah, well-written, great characters. She even says she's really proud of him.
It sounds sincere, like she really means it.
It does. There's warmth there, real affection for what he's accomplished. But then
Then she says, it's kind of weird being back here.
that little hesitation, that's the clue, isn't it? This isn't just a simple congrats on the book visit.
No, there are layers. Which brings us to that feeling you mentioned, the we've been here before vibe,
She actually says it, point blank. She's not sure what they're actually doing here.
referencing the past directly. And she contrasts the new stuff him cooking now, the Mr. Pickle still being around.
With the feeling that maybe the underlying dynamic hasn't changed at all. Like, it's just window dressing on the same old situation.
Yeah, she seems very aware of that possibility. And then things take a real turn, don't they? When she perceives he might be expecting more.
The mood just shifts completely, her reaction. And then what? You go, it's so sharp, so direct. You feel the frustration just pouring out in that line. Years of it, maybe.
It's incredibly honest. Like she's just done with the ambiguity, maybe. Done feeling like just part of a routine.
And she says she thought things might be different after 2 years. That hope she had.
Which clearly hasn't panned out, in her view. It highlights that classic situationship problem, one person hoping for more, the other may be comfortable with the ambiguity. It leads to exactly this kind of cycle. Okay, let's look at it from Joe's side for a moment. His explanation for inviting her.
He says he needs her honest feedback. That she's the only one who will be honest with him.
Implying everyone else just tells him what he wants to hear about the book, maybe.
Possibly. He values her critical perspective, her ability to see past the surface. He's seeking something specific from her.
But Grace pushes back on that, right?
Okay.
She calls him out on his own lack of honesty with her,
Yeah, that's a really sharp pivot. You want my honesty, but what about yours?
which leads directly into this huge revelation, or maybe rehashing, of the past. Him saying he wasn't ready for commitment.
And then her finding out he was in a committed relationship with someone else.
Oof, that had a sting. A massive blow, surely.
Oh, absolutely. You can just imagine the feeling. Betrayal, confusion, questioning everything.
That, why not me? Feeling must have been overwhelming.
And Joe tries to explain it away, doesn't he? Talks about the pandemic changing things.
Says the other partner wasn't you, that the connection wasn't the same.
It feels a bit like a convenient explanation after the fact, maybe. Trying to smooth it over now.
Well, it certainly doesn't seem to land well with Grace. She talks about feeling ruined by that whole period.
And she makes it clear their connection wasn't just physical for her, it was deeper. So his explanation feels inadequate.
There's a total disconnect between his attempt to frame it now and her actual experience back then.
Which is probably why she uses that incredibly blunt term later on.
The Ving situationship.
Yeah, and saying she felt like an afterthought, that's powerful.
Especially when you contrast it with what she also admitted, feeling special, feeling inspired by him at times.
That's the core of it, isn't it? The push and pull, those moments of connection drowned out by the uncertainty, the feeling of being secondary.
That's what a situationship often is, right? That lack of clarity, the undefined space.
Exactly. It has intimacy, connection, maybe even love, but without the commitment or the defined boundaries. It breeds exactly this kind of frustration Grace is showing.
And then, wow, this line from Joe, that Grace is still the only woman I've ever said I love you to.
Heavy. That's a really heavy thing to say in this context.
And Grace acknowledges it. She knows it's significant.
But she immediately points out the reality. Despite those words, here they are, still in the situation.
The words didn't change the dynamic. Actions speak louder, maybe.
It seems that way for her, yeah. Expressing love is one thing. Showing up consistently, committing, that's another. And that's what seems to be missing.
So fast forward to the present moment in the scene. Joe makes his plea, I want you back in my life.
You have to wonder about the timing. Is it genuine regret? Or is it because the book is done and there's a void?
We don't know. But Grace's response,
Yeah.
it's devastating, really.
So powerful. She admits she's still madly in love with him, utterly honest about her feelings.
But she knows herself. She knows she can't just be friends.
The feelings are too strong. And she voices this incredibly painful thought that maybe she's never going to be enough for him, not in the way she needs.
Which leads to her final declaration.
If you really truly love me, you will let me go.
Wow. That takes immense strength. Putting her own well-being first, even though it hurts.
It's an act of self-preservation, isn't it? Recognizing that staying caught in this cycle is just too damaging.
Even though it means letting go of the person she loves.
It's incredibly mature and heartbreaking. Then they both say, I love you again.
And her last line, my love doesn't have walls. What a way to end it.
Yeah. Implying perhaps that his does, or that her definition of love requires openness, commitment, no walls.
So pulling it all together, this deep dive really exposed that core conflict, didn't it? This undeniable bond, this affection.
Constantly crashing against Joe's inability or unwillingness maybe to commit fully, to give her what she needs.
We saw the whole emotional roller coaster laid bare, the nostalgia, the hope, the recurring disappointment.
Yeah, the pain of feeling like you're not the priority, the struggle for just some clarity, it's all there.
It really makes you think, and maybe makes you, listening, think
yeah.
too. What does real love look like in a situation like this?
Is Grace's version love without walls, love that's fully present and committed? Is that something Joe can actually offer? Or even understand in the same way?
And what happens next for them? Does he let her go? Does anything change?
Lots to chew on there. A really potent snapshot of a relationship.